Sit down and shut up.
Just kidding. Alright, welcome to chemistry. Unless a large virus or a questionable textbook happens to get in the way, this year we'll have plenty of hands-on activity, as well as assignments to learn about chemistry. First things first, take a good look around the room. A few things you will want to identify are the exits in the room, as well as things like fire extinguishers, but more on that later. Also, there will be a quiz on this, and I would hate for anyone to start the year off on a bad note. Let's talk about some safety precautions. You will need to wear these plastic goggles, even if you are not the person conducting the experiment.
Oh, you stink!
Get out of here!
Okay, well, do you want to look like this guy?
Actually, teacher, I wear glasses. Therefore, I will not need these so-called goggles.
Do your glasses have shatterproof lenses, kid?
Got him! Idiot!
These goggles will protect you from a lot, but if a chemical does happen to get in your eye, we have eye wash stations. If you do get a chemical near your eyes, use these immediately. There are a few things you should note about fire in this classroom. It can happen. A common way of this happening is through somebody not being careful with a gas burner. That is why it's always important to make sure that anything flammable is used carefully. Depending on the size of the fire, there are different ways to extinguish it. For a very small fire, covering it with the beaker should extinguish it, as it will deprive the fire of oxygen. Some other ways are by using a fire blanket, which smothers the fire when it is small. Another is the fire extinguisher. The fire extinguisher is reserved for large fires. After using it, return to the stockroom so that it can be refilled. However, make sure that chemicals from the fire extinguisher do not react with the chemical that is on fire, as they can make the reaction worse. One of the biggest reasons fires begin in the lab is because somebody was not wearing appropriate clothing for the situation. Always make sure to not have sleeves or bulky clothing that could catch on fire. Also, if you have long hair, it needs to be tied up in some capacity. A few types of fabric should also be avoided, such as silk. Long jewelry, like a necklace, should also not be worn, as it can fall into chemicals or fire. Wear long pants so that your legs will not be exposed should something happen with the chemicals. Also, do not wear open-toed shoes, because they will not protect your feet should broken glass or chemicals fall on them. In the very unlikely event that somebody is on fire, a water shower or fire blanket is used. The water shower pumps out 40 to 50 gallons of water so that it can extinguish the flames as quickly as possible. Also, it cannot be turned off once on, so please keep that in mind. The fire blanket is used to smother flames on a person, and this is done by wrapping the blanket around you. In case dangerous chemicals are spilled on the skin, tell your instructor immediately, and use the water shower if it lands on large amounts of skin or clothes. Even if only a small amount of chemicals are spilled on somewhere, like your hands or anywhere on your clothes, wash them as soon as possible and let your instructor know, even if the amount spilled seems insignificant. If chemicals spill in the laboratory, clean it up with help from your teacher as soon as possible to prevent any potential damage. Before starting any experiments, always first prepare the lab with safety equipment and remove any unnecessary things from the area where you work that could cause damage or prevent quick treatment. Toxic fumes may be involved in the lab, and they can be dangerous. If you can smell it, it can probably hurt you. If smelling something is part of the assignment, waft it towards yourself, and do not put your nose right up to it. Use fume exhaust hoods when working with fumes that can be dangerous. The exhaust hood is equipped with fans that draw dangerous vapor away from the user. They have safety glass that will protect you from the chemical reactions, which can also be left open to keep a constant flow of air. The most common types of injuries in a lab are simple cuts and burns.
I'm sorry, teacher. Are you implying that we will be injured inside this classroom? I believe that it's not ideal for our health.
If safety protocols are not followed, then yes, these injuries can be common. However, taking precautions will drastically lower the chance of any lab-related injury. The most common injuries result from glass not being handled correctly, or students touching an apparatus that is still hot. The apparatus should be secured by a metal ring, and it needs to be sturdy. If it is not secured, then it can tip over and spill chemicals all over. Report any injuries like this to your teacher and go to the nurse as soon as possible. They may look fine, but they can be very dangerous if not treated properly. A few other general things are that you should never eat or drink during a lab experiment. This includes gum and smoking. This is because it is easier to ingest dangerous chemicals while doing any of these. Also, never deviate from the directions of a lab assignment, as if the instructions are not followed carefully, then experiments can go very wrong and become dangerous to your health.
Bruh.
Okay, any questions?
Can I go to the bathroom?
It's going to be a long year.